But you know what else is based on hope?
What's that?
This next segment, Tim. This next segment, because we have got to transition to CNN.
Oh,
I know,
geez.
I know, and I apologize in advance to not only you but the beautiful people of the Second Legacy. But we owe it to them.
Yeah, the Communist News Network, formerly known as the Clinton News Network.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're moving up in the world. You know, Tim. I think it's important to note, to set these segments up. Biden's not doing too well in polling. He's not.
Not according to Harry Sison. I'm just saying.
Oh no, but not Harry. But Harry is the eternal optimist, that breathless wonder.
The Gen Z. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Yeah, they haven't dropped yet. I don't even think the guy has hair on his face yet, but he's an expert in all things political. So anyway.
Right. Yeah, you didn't know. This new gen is coming out. It's coming out swinging.
Speaking from experience, man, it's vast experience. Anyway, go ahead.
That's true. It's vast experience. I can't see. Like I can't. I can't. Okay. So the thing that I wanted to put this in, and it actually dovetails into our G3 segment pretty nicely, inadvertently, to be honest. When the Democrats are in trouble, and the presidents who's a Democrat, or any politicians, or the congressional ballot in general, they always seem to go back to the exact same things, which I personally find a little bit offensive, right? I'm going to set the clip up, but you're going to find a theme here pretty quick, Tim. I think even we will pick this up. This is number 7. Doctor, could you play that for us?
Former President Obama met for a private lunch with President Biden recently to express concern about how Biden is managing his reelection bid. This comes as President Biden is struggling to solidify support among black voters, including on that trip to South Carolina. Obviously, you were instrumental in Biden getting the Democratic nomination. Obviously, black voters were instrumental in President Biden getting, then Senator Biden, or then Vice President Biden, getting the nomination in 2020. How worried are you about black voters showing up for President Biden in November?
Well, I'm not worried. I'm very concerned. And I have sat down with President Biden. I don't know. I saw those reports. I've also seen at least one report indicating that I have sat down with President Biden, and I did with him. And I've told him what my concerns are. I have no problem with the Biden administration and what it has done. My problem is that we have not been able to break through that MAGA wall in order to get to people exactly what this president has done.
I can tell you what he's done. He's destroyed the country, but
he has.
It's crazy because the Democrats historically have relied on the fact that the black voters, they just took them for granted. It's like, yeah, we got them in our pocket, so we're just going to go ahead and count 99% of black Americans are going to go ahead and vote for us. So now let's focus on Latinos and white females and cities and soccer moms, whatever, because everything's about race and everything's So they've always just taken that black vote for granted. So when Trump shows up and gets 12% of the vote, it causes a panic because they're like, oh my gosh, they're starting to realize we're screwing them over. That all the free stuff we promised we never deliver on.
It's just,
and they're racist
to me. And
Biden, I just want to say that I post all the time on Twitter.
Go ahead.
People say, oh, all these people come out and say, oh, Biden's so great. Look at, he spoke at a black church, and I'll just post a link to a website that documents all of his recent racist remarks and statements. I mean, this is a guy that told an Indian dude that you can't walk into a 7-Eleven without seeing somebody like him. This is a guy that said he didn't want his children growing up in a racial jungle. This is a man that has been
also true
that has buddied up to Klans members and everything else and looked up to them. This man is a wild racist all the way up until today. Corn Pop was a bad dude, So it's just, the man is a horrible racist, and the fact that he thinks that he can just get the black vote, that it's owed to him, which is what he said. If you ain't black, you whatever. When he said on the Charlemagne the God,
no, if you don't vote,
vote for me, you ain't black. If you don't
vote for me, then you ain't
That's
black.
what it was, right? Yes. I mean, it's just endless. And see, he didn't even know he was saying something racist at that point. That took Charlemagne the God by surprise. He's like, what? I mean, he didn't know how to handle that.
Right. And that's, I think, you, first of all, excellent memory on all of those. Like, you nailed all of those, and all of those were actually accurate. Yes. That's incredible. Like almost verbatim.
Are you saying that I normally make things up? How dare you, sir?
Maybe. No, you're actually incredibly factual. My problem is usually not that you can remember things. My problem is usually you remember things too well, where I'm like, YouTube doesn't like it. YouTube doesn't like it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But to your point though, and this is what really bothers me about the left's approach, because every single thing is all about race. Everything. Doesn't matter. You are in a demographic bucket. If you're in this bucket, you do this. If you're in this bucket, then you do this. And it's not only race, it's also class. It's basically any way that they can segment the population into buckets against each other, like they do it with unions. They do it with race. They do it with sex. They do it with demographics. They do it across the board. But the thing that really, really bothers me about this is, there's, how are you going to get the black vote to turn out? Wait, hold on a second. Shouldn't that question be, how are you going to get Americans to vote for you?
Right.
Why does it have to
Always
be,
down.
how are we going to get what's rightfully ours to show up?
Always down racial lines.
That is
Yep.
really messed up. I've always thought that that's really messed up, because the assumption is, well, it's not that you have to bring forward the best ideas. It's how are you going to get that vote, which is owed to you, which is obviously going to vote for you, to get out there and vote for you. It's such a, in my opinion, truly disgusting.
And this is the same group of people, the same party that says horribly racist things like, well, we got to get rid of all voter ID requirements because black people can't get IDs. And they
Also
can't get a
true.
driver's license.
Actually happened.
I mean, that is wildly
Yep,
racist,
it's
but
too
that's
hard.
their argument against voter ID.
Right. And
And they don't even see it. And they'll call us racist. And we're the ones saying, I don't care what your skin color is. You just need to show up to a poll, show ID, prove you're a citizen, and vote. Unless you just want to do mail-in ballots from Germany and France and Spain and England. I mean, what's your goal
I can
here?
see it now. I can see it now. I want to vote for Biden, yeah?
It's crazy.
It is. Well, and that's the thing. And we've got one more clip on top of this. But all of this is happening at the exact same time, Tim, that the African-American electorate, the African-American population, is buying guns at an unprecedented rate.
Yep.
Not only that, also African-American females are buying guns at an unprecedented rate. You are looking at something, and this is where it goes broad. This is where you back out to the broad trends, right? You are looking at something that's not just, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. If you're looking at buying behavior, if you are looking at the spending behavior, if you are looking at all these different basically lagging indicators that are showing where people are acting, not what they're saying, something is going on underneath the surface, and that's what they're trying to hit on. And completely unrelated. Did you like, by the way, in this video, this segment where he's like, well, I have seen those reports, and I also saw a report on myself, so I did, and I watched that report on myself, and I did indeed show up to the White House. I'm like,
What's that all about?
What the frack?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, unrelated, but squirrel. But anyway, I think it's so fascinating. His ending statement where he's like, well, he's done all these amazing things. It's just that MAGA wall.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to penetrate it with how many great, amazing things he's done. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Your actions aren't speaking for themselves. It's people just aren't believing you. Oh, but no. It's not the problems with your policies. No. It's just that you haven't been able to break through that great MAGA wall, which I don't even know what
Yeah,
that
what
means.
is that? Yeah. No.
Anyway, you ready for another clip from CNN?
No, but
I'm
let's
excited
do it.
to see your
Let's pull the Band-Aid off.
I'm excited to see your reaction on this one. Number 8, sir.
But why hasn't the president been effective then with the messaging, touting those accomplishments, as you say, to constituents, to voters of color, that Charlemagne is speaking on behalf of, essentially, when he says, look, I'm frustrated, I don't feel like he's done enough, and what he's doing now just isn't cutting it?
Well, the truth is, Charlemagne and I share frustration. Mine is a little bit different because I believe that the president is doing, and the vice president, their role, which is President Biden wakes up every day trying to figure out how he can make this country better for you, for your community, for your families. And he keeps his head down and he does the work, which is why he has so many accomplishments.
Okay, let me before you jump quick, let me just highlight something really key. And this is, I think, important between these two segments. The Jake Tapper thing was recorded on Sunday. That was when it aired. This one that I just showed you was recorded yesterday. Okay, so there's 3 or 4 days in between here. The thing that I think is so fascinating is they're not only focusing on the African-American vote, demographic, voter block, all that. They're also going down the exact same road of, what's just not landing? Like it's obviously so many amazing things have happened, but why aren't people believing it?
Right.
Again, it's that same narrative of, oh, it's so incredible. And did you notice what the guy fell back on? He fell back on, well, he wakes up every day with the intent to really help Americans. Extremely broad, intent-based, not results-based. Everything that we're seeing right now is going back to a broad-based, well, he intends to have the best outcomes, which means he's not. And that's, I think, incredibly important. Sorry, go.
People just don't appreciate all that Joe's done. He's up at noon, eats his oatmeal. He's there to fight for the American people all the way till 2:00 in the afternoon when he heads back to bed. I mean, the man, that's all he thinks about for a couple hours he's awake.
Timeless. Just,
yeah. I mean, this is consistent with them. It's your fault that you don't see how great he is, because every other president or elected official before him requires, constant goading and being told that, look how great this person is. You need to vote for him again. Now, people kind of come to that conclusion on their own based on what they're experiencing in their lives, like eggs being twice as much, gas being twice as much, rent being unaffordable, mortgage prices doubling. It's just, that's why people are upset with this administration. They're doing what they're supposed to. What's that? The guy doesn't even campaign. And Kamala Harris, what does she do? Right. She shows up once every quarter or so and cackles on TV, says something stupid, gets drugged through the media for it, and disappears again. And they're wondering why nobody wants to vote for these clowns.
Tim, it's the MAGA wall.
It's the MAGA wall.
The MAGA
wall. I even heard that they
can't penetrate it.
I even heard that they brought in reporters to lecture them about how they're not doing their jobs, telling the world how great Biden is, and gave them talking points.
Yeah. I actually heard that too. That's weird. Weird how that
works. If you're such a great leader, do you need to do that? No, because actions speak louder than words. People just know you're a great leader when you do what you're supposed to and do good things.
What about if you're a dear leader? Does that count? Anyway, so I think Doctor had something to say there. You were excited.
I got hairy legs.
You got to let him come in here occasionally, Tim.
That's right.
It's like a good marriage.
I love kids jumping on my lap.
Just the white ones.
He was just waiting the wings. Beep. Oh my God! And deleted.
He's a racist.
And we're back.
All right. All right.
Oh my!
It's documented.
Tim has determined. He has been okayed by his own Timness. He just pulled from Tim on high. I deem this acceptable. Let's move forward.